CJ Lang here for thefantasyauthority.com. Going to give you a quick video here today on some 2020 late round dynasty buys for wide receivers. Obviously, I think we all know the studs to pick in the first few rounds, but I'm going to give you some names to keep in the back of your mind so you don't have to go straight to Google when you're in the later half of those drafts. The first one, Tyler Johnson for the Buccaneers. Absolutely lit up the NCAA his last two seasons at Minnesota. He caught 164 passes, 2,487 yards, and 25 touchdowns. In 2019, he led the Big Ten Conference in receptions, receiving yards, yards per catch, and receiving touchdowns. An obvious first-round talent, right? Wrong. The Buccaneers drafted him in the 5th round of the 2020 NFL Draft. He obviously looks to be a huge steal, and with the current roster, he seems to be solidified as the starting slot receiver. Obviously, they still have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. They added Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski, and they upgraded that 22nd ranked offensive line by drafting Tristan Wirfs. And we've all seen what Brady can do with his slot receivers, especially Julian Edelman. So I see Tyler Johnson being a big pickup. There's not really anyone on that team that I see right now that can beat Tyler Johnson out for that wide receiver 3, so someone you should definitely target in your drafts. All right, moving on. Auden Tate, wide receiver of the Bengals. Obviously, we all know what Joe Burrow did last year. Set an FBS record for touchdowns in a season. He won the Heisman Trophy, and he went number 1 overall. Now, thanks to that move, I think Auden Tate gets a huge boost in value. Second-year wide receiver, 6'5", 228 pounds. He led the Bengals in red zone targets and was second to Tyler Boyd for total targets. This also in spite of Auden Tate missing 4 games due to injury and playing with not-so-great quarterbacks Andy Dalton and Ryan Finley. Obviously, Tate is not known for his speed, but he has great hands and he has the ability to high point those balls over defensive backs. AJ Green is back. They drafted T. Higgins, but I believe Tate has the advantage over Higgins because of he's already seen NFL defenses and he knows how to adjust to that program. He definitely has a chance to be a solid option on this team, so I think you should definitely look into buying Tate. Our third dynasty buyer for late round wide receivers would be Devin Duvernay from the University of Texas. He picked an amazing year to have his breakout year, his last year. 13 games as a senior, he caught 106 passes on 126 targets. He had 1,386 yards and 9 touchdowns. His receiving total was 3rd best in the nation, and his receiving yards were good for 5th best in the nation. He ran a 4.39 40-yard dash at the combine, and he was selected in the 3rd round by the Ravens. Currently, I see him as Ravens wide receiver 3 behind Hollywood and Miles Boykin. Duvernay's speed should be something that Lamar Jackson can exploit. I don't think Willie Snead is going to push him for targets. And also, if you look into the addition of J.K. Dobbins along with Duvernay, those Ravens have one of the younger, better offenses in the league. And obviously, when you're drafting dynasty players, you always want those that are attached to high-powered offenses. Duvernay could be an absolute nightmare matchup for corners with his quick acceleration. He also has the ability to get yards after the catch and is physical with the ball in his hands. So those are your 3 players. Start looking for them in later rounds. Tyler Johnson, Auden Tate, Devin Duvernay. Make sure to come to thefantasyauthority.com for all of your DFS, dynasty, and redraft needs. And you can find me on Twitter at Clubber_Lang83 and on Facebook and Instagram at CJ Lang. Talk to you later.